So we are live, y'all.
Hey, y'all, we here. We're back.
Hey, y'all. My name is Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, travel, and retiring abroad as we build generational wealth. We are using new equipment today, so let us know in the chat if you can hear us okay. So, what are we going to talk about today?
Today, we're going to talk about money myths that almost kept us from going to Portugal.
Yep. You know, it is never too late to retire early. And we're going to talk about that today. But first, if you are new to our channel, then you may not know that about 7 years ago, Rick and I got a wake-up call. We were getting close to retirement age and we looked at our money and it looked crazy. But we got our financial act together, and within 3.5 years, we went from negative 22,000 to over 1 million in net worth. And you can do the same thing. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you know every single time we drop a new video or go live. Plus, I'm sure you have a friend or family member that needs this information. So go ahead and share this information with them. Today, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the goofy things that we believed as fact that almost kept us from retiring abroad.
Yeah, from living the life we wanted to live.
Exactly. You know, if you all don't recognize the background, it's because we are in Spain. We're not going to tell you the exact town right now, but we are in Spain.
We are?
And yes, we are.
Okay.
And we're doing a cat sit. We've got 2 kitties who have just decided to start chasing each other around the apartment.
They've been quiet all day.
All day. So if you don't know about house sitting, we belong to an organization called Trusted House Sitters. That information is below, and it allows us to travel more economically. We don't always house sit when we travel, but when we can, we do. And, you know, it's not free accommodations, but it's basically free accommodations. You know, we're taking care of 2 lovely pets and making sure the house is kept safe and, you know, uninhabited by weirdos, taking care of these folks' house. So, you know, it's a beautiful location, beautiful house, and we feel very blessed to be here. So let's get started, because this is all about money. House sitting is about making sure that you stay within budget so you never have to go back to work again.
Yes.
And that's what I'm about.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, number 1.
Ride or die.
What is the number 1 myth? Okay, these are not in any particular order. So this is like, we didn't take some survey and say this is the number 1 myth. We put this in the order that we wanted to put it in based upon some articles that we read. So go ahead.
Number 1 is not worth saving if I can only contribute a small amount.
Yeah, we used to believe that. And then it was like, okay, well, we'll save our money once we've paid our bills. And that just never happened, as opposed to making sure, right, that we were putting aside a set amount at regular intervals, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, per paycheck, per month, whatever it is, just making sure that money was automatically coming out and going into savings. So think about the rule of marginal gains. Yeah. And we talk about this in Beyond the Bling, Money Mindset Makeover for Financial Independence. That's our financial class. So marginal gains is a theory that small yet significant improvements can lead to monumental change. So even though you can't work out for 2 hours every time you go to the gym, does that mean you don't go to the gym at all? No. If you can only do 15 minutes, it's better to do 15 minutes than no minutes, right?
It was better than.
Exactly. And we found out that the hard way, because there was half of our marriage, we were not being diligent about saving. We just weren't.
No.
And so, you know, I don't know where we would have been, but no regrets. We're here. We're where we are now. So the same goes for your 401k or retirement account. You know, whether it is saving in a savings account or putting it in your 401k, 403b, whatever IRA, whatever kind of retirement tax benefit retirement account you have, make sure you put some in. And if your employer matches the minimum you should be doing, is the amount that they will match. So if they match 3%, put in 3% of your pay. If it's 6%, 6% of your pay.
Free money, y'all.
That, it's free money.
Take
It's
that money.
part of the money that they budgeted for payroll, right? For people. So if you don't take it, then it's just going to get allocated to somebody else. That's how that rolls. And I remember Rick, when I told you, you should start investing in your 401k, and he said,
yeah, it's too late.
It's too late. So whether it's not worth saving because I can only contribute a small amount, or is way too late for me to be able to do that, you started that 401k this time because we've had others in the past that unfortunately we cashed out and stuff like that. So don't make that mistake. But you started that in what, late 2018?
I did because I didn't think I was going to be at that company. I didn't want to be at that company as long as I ended up being. So I don't need it because I'm not going to be here. And I ended up being there.
Even if you don't plan, he ended up being there almost 20 years. So even if you don't plan on being on a job for more than a year or two, what does it hurt? Right? So these are the myths that we think about that derail us from meeting our goals. And he started in late 2018. And, and that small amount that he was putting in, of course, you guys know that in the end, he was putting 50% of his payroll, but it got up to what, $43,000. So that's $43,000. That's a year's living expenses. Some places it's 2 years living expenses. All right. So number one, it's not worth the saving. It's not worth saving if I can only contribute a small amount. Number two.
We say, the stock market is too risky and I don't want to risk my retirement.
Yeah. So the stock market is not like playing the lotto or going to Vegas. We know that, right? Investing is not gambling. It is only gambling if you don't know what you are investing in and you don't understand how it works. And it really is not that complicated. It really isn't. The bottom line is the truth is that the stock market has a very, very long history of growth that you can look at and make and interpret what would be the expected return in the future based upon the past. Now, I don't want to hear, don't get in the comments talking about no zombie apocalypse or any of that stuff, because if that's the case, what are we doing, right? So let's not even go there, right? Let's just assume it's going to be the normal drama of the world on Earth, right? And so with that in mind, the basic rule of thumb is you want to invest money that you do not need for at least 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So even if, let's just say, I remember my aunt was retiring around the time the fit hit the sham back in 2009-ish, right? And she was panicked about her investments. We know the stock market went way down. But the thing about it is, like for her, she got a pension. She should not have had to even touch her investments. You should make sure that that the income stream that you have coming in, if you are going to retire on cash flow, that you live on that and you don't go dipping in, especially when the market is down. You don't want to be selling stock when the market is down. If you have retired and you retired based upon like fired, we'll get to that, how you calculate that, but just based upon your investment portfolio, and you don't want to sell stocks when they are down and lose even more money, then we suggest, and this is how you manage risk, right? Mm-hmm. Is saving that really, really healthy emergency fund. So it's a little later here. It's 11 o'clock. So forgive us if we're a little foggy. We were traveling and all that.
We traveled today. We got up early because we had to check out a hotel and catch a train.
Yes, that we almost missed.
They held the train for me.
Yeah,
for real, because I was on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But we got here.
It was crazy. So, but anyway, getting back to investing and managing risk, we save 2 years living expenses. So if we were depending 100% upon the returns of our stock investments, and it happened to be a year where the stock market crashed or went down, we know it's going to come back up. But we do not want to sell at a loss. That's when we tap into our emergency fund so we can let our shares sit there and do what they are meant to do, which is start gaining more value. If you feel insecure about what you know, we talk about this in Beyond the Bling. We also have another video that we did with my stepmother about investing. So I'll put the link up here if you're watching from the future, hey, let us know how you're doing. We'll put the link up there to that other video, but also she's going to be coming on at the next group coaching for all of the students who are in our financial course. We're going to talk about the book, Take Stock, and we're also going to talk about investing. So if you're in Beyond the Bling, look forward to that. Yeah, if not, definitely. And you need it, why not? Why aren't you in the Beyond the Bling?
Need to be participating.
Yes, because half of the battle when it comes to money is our thinking. So if you try to create habits without really looking at how you think about money, chances are you won't be as successful as you could have been had you started with a money mindset makeover and then get into the action items. And we do all of that in Beyond the Bling. Number 3.
Well, there's no way of knowing how much money I'm going to need in retirement. That's not true.
False. If you belong to our Facebook group, Fire Over 50, Our Black Utopia's Fire Over 50, then you already know what the formula is, right, Greta? So I see some questions. We typically do not answer questions on Thursdays because we try to keep it short. So I'm going to look at the end. If we still have time, then we'll answer some of these questions. And by the way, when you house sit, yes, you do have to pay to get there. You get free lodging, but you pay to get there. So it's still a discounted vacation as far as I'm concerned. We are in a beautiful location. So getting back to how do you know how much you need in retirement? Decide. Decide how much you need in retirement and then stick to it. You can do that? Yeah, you can do that, especially for our audience, because our audience is not 20. Most of our audience is not 30. You're not 10, 20, you might be 10 years, but you're probably not 20 years away from retirement. If you're doing the right thing, you can retire in 8 years. So depending upon where you're starting from, very, very, very easily, even starting from zero, as long as you're not too far in debt or based upon what kind of income you need. But how do you do it? It's really easy. We've told you in other videos, and we'll post that up here as well, how to calculate 5, but in a nutshell, you take your expenses and you multiply them times 25. And when you have that amount of money in your savings and investments, basically, then you can retire. Or you can go by cash flow. You take that annual expense divided by 12, right? 12 months in a year. And so whatever that your monthly expenses are, let's say they're $2,000, then you have to decide where that $2,000 is going to come from. And it could be a hodgepodge of things. It could be rental income plus Social Security, a pension plus an investment in a business plus rental income. And once you know you have that coming in on a monthly basis, then you can retire. I wouldn't do that still until I had that healthy, get that healthy emergency fund, just in case one of those drops off and you need time to pull in another income stream, right? We diversify our investments. We need to diversify our income streams as well. All right. Portugal moved. Yeah. Our move to Portugal did help us map out, right? Yes. Because there is no way that we would have been able to come up with that kind of cash flow that quickly for Denver, Colorado expenses. With the car and the car insurance and the very expensive health insurance,
yes,
right? And, gas is actually more expensive here, but we don't have a car, so we don't have to worry about it. Uber rides are very expensive. They're more expensive here in Spain too. Not kind of liking that. So if moving to Portugal is on your list to help you retire, you're in luck.
Yeah.
We are co-hosting with Blacksit Global a Move to Portugal virtual summit. It's virtual, y'all. The first weekend in November, that's November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Information is in the description below. We're still on early bird pricing for a little bit longer. Y'all, today's prices are not tomorrow's
Hey,
prices.
Krishan.
Hey, Krishan, good to see you in the good to see you in the chat. All right, number
Number
four.
4 is all debt is bad, isn't it?
You know, what I noticed, especially with folks who grew up kind of hungry, that is very prevalent. That was never our problem. That was never our problem. So I did understand that debt that was collateralized, debt that was used to invest in an appreciating asset. What is an appreciating asset? Asset like real estate, right? Something that grows, that grows in its value over time. So using debt to buy a home is not bad debt. If you plan to stay put and retire in that home that you purchased, then maybe you'd want to pay that off before you retire. We didn't plan to stay in Denver. We didn't try to pay off our mortgage. We're renting it out, and we're letting the rent income help pay that mortgage and provide extra income for us, right? So all debt is not bad debt. Low interest debt invested in appreciating assets, I'm reading my notes, can have a powerful positive impact on your financial freedom goals. Number 5.
Credit cards should all be avoided.
Oh, credit cards. I understand.
If you're not
We
if
understand.
you're not making them work for you,
Then what's the purpose? What's the purpose? So, what credit cards are not for? They are not to give you a lifestyle that you cannot currently afford. They are not for emergencies. Unless you're going to pay it off at the end of the month, but you have it so that you don't have to access cash. Okay, but they're not for emergencies. You don't have a credit card in case your car breaks down. That's not, no. That's what your emergency fund is for. Let credit cards work for you. We use them to get travel points so that we can travel more affordably. So we put everything on the credit card. Groceries, well, not rent, can't do that. But groceries and everything else goes on the credit card. We pay it off 100% at the end of the month, and we accumulate them points. We use the points. Is the cat stuck in there? We use the points to travel. So if you have problems with credit cards, if you are afraid to, like, you've just paid off all that debt and you're afraid to start using them again because you don't know if you've got the kind of discipline, one of the things that we always suggest is that try it for a little bit. Go ahead, charge the thing, come home. When you come home, pay the bill. Go online and just pay it. They're not going to like you, but they'll let you do it. They'll let you do it.
they want you to pay the least amount.
They want you to.
possible,
They want you to pay minimum.
so they can charge that interest.
Right. So you can pay it weekly, every week on Friday, Saturday, whatever. Go in there and pay it. That way, you're not in denial about how much you're actually spending. So that's one way to use credit cards and not get back into crazy debt or any debt whatsoever. So, yeah, credit card usage is not, credit cards aren't bad. It's usually a user error. So, last but not least, our last one.
I'm too young or I'm too old to just start saving for retirement.
Yes. So, check this out. Had we all started, the average person watching this is 45 to 65. Had we all started at 30, there would have been a big difference. So let me give you 2 scenarios. 30-year-old Rashawn saved $7,000 per year for 30 years. First of all, he should not have been working for 30 years, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, he saved $7,000 per year for 30 years, contributing $210,000 to his 401k. At the end of those 30 years, he had amassed $707.5 thousand. So 707,000, $750,000 almost, right? So he put in 210, he amassed basically $750,000. Now, versus Tanya, she started at 45 years old. These are arbitrary people. So if somebody's in the chat named Tanya, I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking about you. So 45-year-old Tanya saved $15,000 per year. So she started 15 years later, and she saved $15,000 per year. That's a lot tighter. She's probably making more, but still. And she did that for 20 years, contributing $300,000. So she contributed more. Yet she only amassed $658,000. So $707,500 or $658,000. Yet the $658,000, it took more money to amass that. So if you happen to be 30, if you have adult kids, let them know these numbers. Show them this video, because it's a lot easier to glide into it, by starting young than it is to try to catch up, which is what a lot of us are doing, which is what we had to do, which is why we were saving 65% of our take-home pay. No, of our gross, because it was coming off the top. 65% was going into saving and investing. And that's how we were able to do it very quickly, right? And as we said before, you're never too old. You're never too old, because, in 4 years, $40,000, and we only put in a fraction of that. And it just happened to be when the stock market was doing really well, right? So these are the myths that a lot of people believe that will keep them from realizing their financial dreams.
Yeah.
They almost kept us from realizing our dreams. Thank God we got a clue. Thank God we got a clue. All right, so we are at 21 minutes. That is the end of our content. I'm going to answer a few questions and then we will let you go. So if you are part of the diaspora from the continent of Africa, please, please, please join our Fire Over Facebook group, our Fire Over 50 Facebook group. You don't have to be over 50, but you do have to be from the diaspora. My medical retirement was improved. My plan has begun here. I come to Portugal. Okay, Shaquan.
Right.
So I answered Tina's question. Do you ever think the reason you guys didn't begin saving earlier and live the Lux life so that your story was both reliable and inspirational? I wish I could say I was planning for the future, but we just did not have a clue. And it was always this overly optimistic view that we were going to get this big contract, right? We had a side hustle. So we were out there hustling, trying to get corporate clients. And, soon as we get that $100,000 contract, then we're going to do such and so and so. But what if that never happens? What if it never happens? Then you're SOL. And that's what we did not want to be, is SOL. So, I'm glad that we're relatable. I'm not glad because I wish that you guys would have had a clue, even though we didn't have a clue. But you know when you know, and there's no shame. The shame is knowing and doing nothing about it. So we see all of the fam in the chat. We love you guys.
Definitely.
We will see you on Sunday. In 2 weeks, we have our group coaching. But this Sunday, we're going to talk a little bit about Spain versus Portugal and see what you guys think. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
You can buy us a coffee. You can book a call. You can take our course. We have the Move to Portugal Summit. These are some of the ways that you can support this channel and add to the knowledge that you need to support your journey. And with that, I'm going to let you go.
Y'all have a good one.
We love you.
Love you.
See you on Sunday. Bye.